Weston Plan Commission meeting to order for Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Ronan,
Here.
Dami,
Here.
Deason,
Yes.
Garrett,
Here.
Hoffman. He's excused. Jordan,
Here.
Lumber.
Here.
All right, agenda item number 2, public comment period for items that do not appear on this agenda. Note of this public hearings. We have a comment from Jim Pincinot.
Also have a couple of comments for the agenda items as well, but this is just generally speaking. The things that may or may not be specifically on the agenda this evening. Good evening, Jim Pincinot, 2 Street, Weston. The Village of Weston, generally speaking, has a tremendous problem with equity, fairness, and consistency from project to project and following the municipal code adopted by the Board of Trustees. The following are taken directly from a draft conditional use permit, which you'll see later in the agenda, but all of them are this boilerplate language. After first being assured by village professional staff review that the application is complete, and following staff review and planning commission review, investigation, and a public hearing, which was held, and it's today's date, December 8, 2025, the planning commission, after giving full consideration to the criteria and standards for granting a conditional use permit as set forth in the village ordinance, including section 94.16.06, approved said application in writing. So to clarify that, when Stephen Cronin and Jennifer Higgins sign on this form, they are certifying that village professional staff, the zoning administrator, and the planning commission have sworn to have completed an investigation. Investigation, those words are in there, and given full consideration to the criteria and standards. I would challenge the fact that that rarely is done. I don't think that full consideration is given. I don't think investigations, I think we take a lot of shortcuts and we do what we want. We do what's easy, not what's right. I will expound more on this later in the meeting on each particular agenda item and give you some more specifics. Thank you.
All right, item number 3, written communications, disclosures, and recusals. Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals during this time. Do we have any? Okay, I should have double checked. Is there any other comments? Anybody like to step up to the podium and make a comment? Anybody online wishes to make a comment?
Just staff online.
Okay. All right, item number 4, minutes from November 10th, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion by Deason, second by Mumper. On the question, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Item number 5, public hearing, project number 2025-0447. Rezone 5603 Business Highway 51 from PD Plan Development to B2 Highway Business. I'll open the public hearing. Presentation by the applicant or staff.
So this is the Quick Trip site on Business 51. They had approached the village a number of years ago when they had purchased the Lebakken property and then had plans to redevelop that whole site with a new Quick Trip back in 21. And at that time, they went to the plan development. They have not proceeded with those plans and just recently are going to just do a few small remodels to it, which would only require it to be a B2. So the planned unit development no longer applies. So we are requesting to rezone that property back to the original B2.
So there are little remodels that you mentioned have nothing to do with that Lebakken property.
Correct.
Thank you.
Actually, they would be slightly crossing over their existing property line. They combined that lot into one lot though.
Okay, so they are gonna
They will utilize some of that land that they
Isn't there a
purchased.
little drainage ditch there?
Yeah.
They're gonna be on the other side of the drainage.
They're
ditch?
moving the drainage ditch. They have some
But-
regrading
But
that,
they're gonna go, or
yeah, they'll be utilizing.
beyond that a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The majority of the Lebac site will be green space.
What?
Green space?
They'll, Quick Trip will still own it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be that parcel that you see on
Yes.
there. And that has the old aerial photography on it that shows the old Lebac building.
Yep.
All right, anything else, Jen?
No.
Is the applicant in the audience?
No, they might be online, but I don't even know if they were gonna.
I don't reflect them online.
All right, moving right along, public comment. Do we have anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment on agenda item number 5? All right, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Discussion and recommendation to the Board of Trustees by the Plan Commission. Joe?
So have they given you any indication, Jen, that they want to do something else with that property that they're not going to utilize?
No, right now they're just going to do a small parking area to the north side. And because they're gonna be losing some parking on the east for their cooler, and they're putting an extension to the north on their bathroom, just a small. So they're not moving any of the pumps or anything like that. And right now, that's just going to be green space, that Lee Bakken's property.
Gary?
So if they wanted to do those small additions, does that not fit in the plan development?
No, because their planned development was tied to that big project.
Yeah, so if they wanted to do that, that may be down the road, just because of the costs of construction right now and what they're seeing in their other construction projects, they probably have just chose to do upgrades.
Right.
And then in the future, they would probably, when they want to expand, then they would come back again.
Most likely what they wouldn't need to have the planned development there.
Okay. Do we gotta to do the determination?
We do.
Yeah, your written determination starts on page 18.
Anybody have any other comments, questions, concerns that would be like to move into the determination? Okay. Number 1, is the proposed rezoning consistent with the comprehensive plan as is required by Wisconsin statutes?
Yes.
Number 2, does the rezoning further the purpose and intent of this chapter?
Yes.
Number 3, does rezoning address any of the following that are not properly addressed on the current official zoning map? The current zoning map contains an error showing a use or development inconsistent with actual or intended land use. Change conditions such as new data, infrastructure, development, annexation, or zoning updates make the property better suited for a different zoning district. Or changes in growth patterns or rates created a need for rezone.
2 and 3.
All right, I would agree, 2 and 3. Number 4, does the proposed zoning district maintain the desired consistency of land uses, land use intensities, and land use impacts as related to the surroundings of the subject property?
Yes.
Yes.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented. Second.
We have a motion by Deason, seconded by Mumper on the question. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
What are they thinking about getting started with this?
They are working on a site plan for the project right now and should have something after the first of the year. So they would be construction on those. You'll probably start seeing early next year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, agenda item number 6, public hearing, project number 20250424. Rezone 9707 Anastasia Drive from RR2 rural residential 2 acre to SFL single family residential. I'll open the public hearing. Presentation by the applicant or staff.
So I don't know if you want to talk about those 2 agenda items together because they kind of fit together. Here. So number 6 and 7 are kind of. One's the public hearing for the rezone, and it goes along with number 7, the preliminary plat. So I don't know, so I think you're gonna kind of collide over here, but. Essentially what it is, Chris Reedy of Reedy Builders has owned, this property off of Shorey Avenue for a number of years. And has kind of, back in the early 2000s, had approached the village and received approvals for the start of a plat out there called Carroll Estates. It never came to fruition, and instead they kind of created some CSMs off of it. He is now looking to take that big parcel in the back and actually subdivide it as this Bull Junior View Estates. So they would be looking at smaller single family large lot. Right now it's owned RR2, which is rural residential 2 acre. So he would be looking at a rezone to allow him to construct. Find. My RFC here. I was trying to see how many lots there were. 23 lots.
And those lots, size wise are about what?
They're all over an acre. Some are 1.2, 1.3.
But there used to be 2.
Well, they don't exist right now as anything other than what, a 20 acre parcel.
We're
Right,
at a
but-
2 acre minimum.
But what
right now.
was originally? proposed?
Yeah, 2 acre was the zoning district.
Yeah, okay.
And my,
Just so I presume that this plat is the shaded area with the black hash marks through it on the RFC, correct?
Yes.
So how does that? Okay. I thought 90, because you have it, so I get what you're saying about the confusion here, because 9707 is that one little green square that's over in the corner, correct? Is that what I'm seeing? So how do they tie together?
So that's being rezoned. That's the rezone.
Okay. Correct.
So that green space would be where the new plat would exist.
The hash mark.
No, it actually didn't, he gave the wrong map. Let's see.
Because the way I'm reading this, item number 6, 9707 would be that little square box on the left side of that image,
This?
I think, correct? I mean, it's
No.
9707 is that up there.
No, that, he doesn't have the right address on it, on the map, so it's the green box. You're
It's
seeing
the big
90.
green box.
Yeah, you're seeing the one out on Huron Street. It's just got the same address.
I just wanted to clarify that.
It's the green box. So that was addressed recently. So I'm not sure why Nate's layer doesn't show it, but the one that has the 0 on it, 9707 Anastasia.
Okay. So the public hearing is the rezone, and then item number 7 would be the preliminary plat, correct?
Right, correct.
Jen, if you recall, or can you remember, Michael, maybe you and Keith were on this a while back. The front lots weren't available to do that because they were concerned about the size of the lots and wells and septics, if I'm not mistaken. Was that the case?
At one point, back in the early 2000s, sewer and water was supposed to be run.
Mhm.
The lots were a lot smaller. They were looking at single family
Yeah,
size.
and then they went to 2 acre lots.
Well, that was just kind of where that subdivision or where the lots kind of fit. That would have been changed in 2015. Because they would have been, I don't remember exactly, but that would have been the 2015 is when the entire village was rezoned.
I'm assuming most of these lots, would be septic and well,
They all would
gonna
be septic. Yeah.
and they're probably all gonna be mounds.
Yes. We have them all tested already.
So is there any, I think Keith's reservation on this was, and I'm just going back to, the project off of Shorey Avenue. And, Michael, help me, you know where that I'm talking about? Shorey, the one between Alderston and the one you just redid. They had mound systems on there that contaminated the wells on the next two lots down, and then the village had to come in and run sewer and water, and then they had to blast it to get up the road.
Yeah, that was Bushka.
Oshka. Keith was very reserved on and concerned about this because he didn't want to get stung, having all of a sudden allow these smaller lots in that area because of contaminating somebody else's well. And then I think that one customer on Bushka had 3 wells drilled and still couldn't get safe water. So that's the only concern I bring up. I just didn't know if anybody had talked about that or had concerns about it. With it being just 1 acre lots. If that is the case, what is the municipal's responsibility? If we approve this,
I'm trying to look at the soil types.
Right, in the meantime, Jen, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, just that, I guess if you look on page 30, it is shown on the future land use map as rural density residential, that area of the village is. And the typical implementation zoning district would be the current RR2, RR5, or the SFL, single family residential that they're asking to go towards.
I'm completely fine. I'm not against this at all, just to make that clear. I just want to make sure that by accepting this, that the village has no responsibility to bring sewer and water out there if these mounds or wells fail.
Catch me up on mounds, because it's not a conventional, you don't have the drain field.
You do, it's just above ground. It soaks in. The one that I think the concern with the ones that were on Bushka was there was a rock ledge there as well. And the water from the mounds above were putting fecal matter into their wells on the two lower lots. So they couldn't get brand new wells even to comply because of that. So then they ended up running sewer and water up the road. And it had a bunch of extra costs because it was in rock.
But we also wouldn't permit the mound or the well.
That had come through the county.
Yeah.
So I would think it's the county's purview then to ensure that the way that the water flows would not contaminate the neighbor. We wouldn't even issue that permit.
No, it's not. It's definitely not by the village, but when they can't get safe water because of it, then they go to the village and say, how can we get sewer and water there? That's kind of what happened on Bushka. And that's my only concern, and the only reason I'm bringing it up, because it was a concern years back.
Yeah, and you've got some history with the county. What's your take on that? They gonna, how's the county gonna sign off on that or whatever
Well, they have to go through the whole
process?
of each lot is gonna have to,
If it perks, they can't, they're gonna give you a permit. That's just the way it is.
so they have to go through the county's process to get
Yeah.
that sewer permit or that sanitary permit, and Roman can't issue anything until they provide that. They send that to us.
And again, I'm not against this project whatsoever. I think it's a good project. I just want to make sure that the village is not, if something hasn't changed, or that there's no them coming back at the village for approval on this and the wells not meeting criteria, or if they get contaminated from fecal matter or whatever it may be, that all of a sudden it's not a taxpayer's responsibility to run sewer and water out to the subdivision.
Yeah, I mean, I think the area in Bushka, definitely is sandier, underlying soil, so. I mean, I think that situation is maybe similar, but not exactly the same.
Mhm.
And, you know, in that situation, though, that water and sewer, I believe, would have been special assessed onto those residents too. So, I think that happened out towards the business park when water and sewer went through there too.
If you're happy and fine with it, Michael, and not concerned with it, I've just brought it up as a comment from years past of, Keith had contacted in regards to calling and questioning that and help with, Bushka Street as well. So that was my only comment that I wanted to bring up.
Okay. Dustin, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, just any, you guys have any questions for me? Here to answer anything you got?
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Jen, you're good. You have anything else you'd like to add?
I guess I just want to point out there is a temporary road easement that is going to be across the east side. You can't really, as you can see it on the map that Nate provided. But there is an outlot out there. So there are future plans because as you can see to the east, it could be developable. So there could be a road that kind of comes around, goes into the property to the east, and then also then comes back around. So that's why when you look at that preliminary plat, there's some, they've provided some of those access points. But Michael had asked that until that happens and that connection out to Shorey is there, that you can see along the east side. And we've asked for it to just have kind of a change because it looks like the rest of the utility lines. But basically there's like a 12-foot easement that goes out there that they're going to use for emergency access. It'll be able to be driven down if needed.
12 feet.
It's at least so a vehicle can move through there.
Yeah, well, no safety people. Marty's in the audience.
Our fire ordinance was a 12-foot clear space, right?
What's he gonna do? Back out of there then?
No, it'd connect through, so it would loop it, so it's a road.
Oh,
That's the
It
purpose of
helps
it.
the loop. It helps so that if something happens out on Anastasia and they can't get out, they can get in and out that way.
okay.
Oh, like if a tree were to fall down on Anastasia or something.
Yeah,
Something.
You still have an
you'd still be able to get through. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move this along here. Public comment. Do we have anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Step right up.
Still Jim Penson, still 503 Weston. So I'm fully in support of this. Like, this is for 6 and 7 because they tie together here, but I'm fully in support of this project. It's a beautiful location. I think it'll be a great asset to the community. It's great to see development. We've got a couple of these on here tonight. We have a housing shortage. Building more houses is how you fix that, right? I talked earlier about treating all the projects the same. And there's another project on here later that talks about pedestrian accommodations. I see no pedestrian accommodations here. Maybe it's because it's just a preliminary plat. Now, are we gonna have a sidewalk to nowhere? I don't know. But that's a conversation for here. I don't hope that conversation does happen. But this project in here, there was no mention of any kind of sidewalk or walking path pedestrian accommodation. Cul-de-sacs, in our code, it calls out that we're not supposed to make it cul-de-sacs, or we're supposed to not, every single project that comes here for a plat, and I get it, it makes sense, the only way you can draw this thing and you would cut out 4 homes if you didn't do it, and it wouldn't pencil and it wouldn't be businessly doable. But every single project that comes in here like this for a plat has cul-de-sacs. So we either need to fix the ordinance or follow the ordinance. You do one or the other, because you can't just, there's no reason to have the rules if we're not gonna follow any of the rules. And then to Mr. Duran's point, can you add a condition in this that the Village of Weston would not be financially responsible to provide safe water if there was a scenario similar to what had happened in the past with another subdivision with people drinking out of each other's septic tanks? Thank you.
Anybody else online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Third time, any comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Discussion and recommendation to the Board of Trustees by the Plan Commission. Oh, Mike, sorry, Michael, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I can address a couple of questions if you want. One, based on our ordinance, sidewalk is not required in a rural area, which the SFL or RR2 zoning district would be considered. So in lieu of that, they would make the pavement section wider, which is what the existing Anastasia Drive is, so they would match that. Similarly, that was the ask for the access road, because without that, they are one long cul-de-sac. They do show future connections to other adjoining properties not owned by the subdivider, so that was the reason for the ask of the secondary access point, was so that they would meet that the emergency access requirement, and it's not just one long dead end. So I guess that was staff's interpretation of that cul-de-sac. So.
Well, not to interrupt here, but Michael, with you, it's no, when you dead end, you want to make future for future properties. That's how subdivisions get extended.
Correct.
And so I understand where you're coming from, definitely there.
Would an Arrowhead be a good example of a comparable that was in the past year? I mean, that also.
Yeah, that was an
parking lots.
existing subdivision that had dead ends that then got connected to later on. I mean, even the Granite Ridge subdivision, Old Costa and Mary Lane, Connie Drive had dead ends that, granted, they were just little stubs, but we're connecting onto those now,
So
so.
does Green Tree.
And Green Tree was connected to the stubs at Moose and Muskie, so.
But it also doesn't have pedestrian accommodations. 'Cause-
It's smart to do that right off the bat, because if it were lots going through there, you wouldn't get it later. So.
So where the access road, is that coming off the road that's, I think it's part of the road that's labeled phase 3 heading back to Shorey, would that be correct?
Phase 1 and phase 2, it looks like, on the lower side. It's hard to see.
Phase 1?
Phase
Yeah.
1.
It would come off the stub that's in phase 1, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Come off of phase 1 to shore, up to Shorey Avenue. So phase 1 would be that.
Well, that's only 12 foot. It's hard to see on the picture here. That only goes to that roadway there then.
See on the map that there's a little, I don't know if Jamie can go in on page 29.
Yeah.
You
Does it
can,
say that? That's your best view.
Temporary easement there.
yeah, but to see it all the way out and what it actually looks like, if you can zoom in there a little bit, you can see the outlot. So there's
Yes.
an outlot that, and then the road's gonna go in. So that easement's gonna go down into those lots.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a thin green rectangle in there. So that is 66 feet wide, so that'd be the future roadway that would come off of Shorey into the adjacent property to the east and connect back in.
Okay. So for the time being, there's nothing at the end, the other end of this, where phase 3 is on the map, correct? Are we just stubbing that out, or is there gonna be a cul-de-sac there?
It would connect into phase 1. So it would just come straight south from Shorey
Okay.
to that phase 1.
Is it something you're gonna plow then? Or what are you gonna?
I guess we'd ask the developer to do that probably, keep it
It's
accessible.
nice to have it, but if
Yeah.
nobody maintains it, then.
Correct, yeah. Yep, no, so it'd be their responsibility to maintain it.
You're asking about the cul-de-sac. That would be at the end of phase 3.
Correct.
Michael, he's asking
Oh,
about,
at the end of phase 3?
yeah, that's just.
Is that just gonna be a stub? That'll just be with no,
Correct, yeah.
are we gonna put a cul-de-sac in down there, or no?
I guess they could either temporarily gravel it or It's kind of shown as a hammerhead, at the moment, I do believe.
Yeah, that's the way it looks.
I guess my concern, I understand.
We'd make it a turnaround point.
That's what I'm asking, because I understand having it platted this way and stubbing it out so that future growth can occur. I completely get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, if, you know, God forbid, there's an emergency down here and somebody needs to get a truck down there, how are they gonna turn it around and get out?
Yeah, so,
That was my original point.
So they make the two different, Nick or Dustin, you could talk about it, but, and Michael can too. It's a hammerhead or a cul-de-sac. Hammerhead, basically pulling in.
Or like a big Y turn?
Yeah, that's a hammerhead. And or a full cul-de-sac is something that they can turn the radius around. So it would be, they wouldn't allow that to be okay any other way than to make sure fire and police and, you know, all of them could get around their turnaround with their trucks.
yeah, so that would be as part of a future construction plan development agreement, not necessarily shown on the plat.
Okay.
Because that, whatever you're putting in this 12-foot wide thing, I mean, if. I still don't know who maintains that, right? Because you're gonna develop this and then walk away. And the property owners aren't gonna all get together and decide to sign a check.
Yeah, so that,
And is the village doing it?
no, we'd keep that as, again, on the developer, because it does say until a future roadway, I do believe, on there, so. It would be the developer's responsibility, and the developer will be living in there, currently.
Okay, my point was just, this was gonna be developed 26 years ago and 26 years later.
Well, 26, yeah, no, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
where I'm going is,
That was my point too, because I understand the future growth, but who's to say that that plat right next to them is gonna develop in the next 2 years?
Yeah.
and you're saying the resolution is that you're gonna have a hammerhead cul-de-sac.
That's the way, that's the way it shows on both of these right now. That's just you can see the hammerhead on the end of it if you zoom in.
And you're satisfied as to,
Well, that's what I was gonna ask is to Michael, I mean, how big of a hammerhead do we have to make for an aerial? If we gotta take an aerial down there for a house fire.
We work with the fire department. I mean, we have a 66-foot wide right of way, most cul-de-sacs, you know. We can make something work in there with them so that they can turn around and get out. So whether that's a gravel surface that they turn around in or.
Okay.
I guess on the flip side, if you're gonna send a vehicle that large, you could send a plow truck along.
Yeah.
Okay. And public safety, I mean, that.
I mean, if you guys think that should be bigger than 12 feet as the access
I think
road.
it should be as big as he thinks it should be.
It's like
It's
asking a
gonna happen.
farmer, how big is your combine, you know?
Yeah. So if we want to leave that contingent on fire department approval, I guess.
I think that would be a good idea.
I think it would too.
Mhm.
That would be more next agenda item.
Yeah, I think
Probably.
for the rezone. I don't necessarily think we need fire department approval, but it's the rezone, but I think the agenda set.
Agreed.
That's fine. I don't mind staff working with the fire department, but if we need something like that down there, we ought to be able to facilitate that. That's all.
Is that plan different that you have up there than what I'm seeing on page 31?
This is page 33.
31 is more of the construction plan phasing and 33 is the plat.
Okay, yeah, because it doesn't show those hammerheads on there.
Usually on the plat, you don't.
Okay,
That's all part of the construction
32.
plans that Michael approves.
All right, anybody have any other comments, questions? Or would we like to move forward?
I do. I just have one more. Michael, being that you're asking for that on page 33, line typically is the same as the utility easement, should use a different type here. That's that 12-foot.
Yeah, I'm just saying the line type on the plat, because that
Yeah.
that line type is the exact same line type that says utility easement. So if
So
somebody looks at this in the future, they could interpret that as that there's a utility easement through there as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. So that 12 feet, is that typical for you to do that even? Is that just is that an extra bonus for you to get that 12 feet? Because typically with a cul-de-sac, is that something that you typically ask for? Is that 12 foot? Or even if it's 24?
I'm confused which number, the easement?
Yeah, that easement.
That's what WPS asks for.
Okay, so are these guys thinking, I mean, that 12 feet that's there? You're asking that for to be a drive?
Temporarily along lot 5, yes.
Just along lot 5.
That's why I'm asking for it to not be the same line type as the utility easement, because it causes that confusion.
So. But let me clarify, Steve and Roy, do you guys feel that that's gonna be a road all the way out to Shorey? That there would be a secondary access?
So north of lot 5 already is what
Is cleared?
out there.
Okay.
It's just this lot 5 kind of cuts into that.
It wouldn't be secondary access, it'd be emergency only. So we would ask the developer to maintain access through it, but it would not be traveled regularly.
Mhm. And that's gonna go to, as a secondary, in case they can't come out of that hammerhead, they can get out to Shorey Avenue. That way in an emergency, in case something's down the station.
Yeah, they'd loop around.
Okay.
Yeah, the intention would be, we hope we never use it.
Exactly. So the one that's already on here, on the other map, there's one that goes all the way to Shorey on that existing property already, currently?
Yeah, that was a previous CSM.
Okay. As long as you say so.
At least the outlot there, then lot 5. So this adds it to lot 5.
There's a 66-foot outlot that we'd put in there for future extension to be able to make this a loop in the future. And then there's a lot in between lot 5 and that 66-foot easement or 66-foot right away.
So if you're on page 29, could you go to 29 or something? Maybe Dustin, you could show us what you mean by that. I'm looking at on the far right-hand side, because lot 5 is the far right corner.
Yep.
Could you come over to this one, Dustin, please?
Yep.
The next one, so we can all see over here.
So right here, this piece right there.
Yes,
That is an outlot that will be
Alright.
dedicated in the future if a road ever come, if and when a road would come through here.
but right now, is there a 12-foot easement in there?
Yes, there is. There's a 12-foot trail easement in there currently right now. He
And-
developed this in the. Previously, he wanted to run trails all the way down to Cronewater, but that never,
Okay,
none of the other property owners wanted to do it. So for us, it's not really a big deal because there's already trail in there.
okay.
It's already developed.
So then that other outlot on the back,
This is a lot, so that's
Oh.
why we did this outlot for future dedication, so that this could be constructible.
what is this? Where's that lot coming from?
This one?
Yeah.
This would be a road dedication in the future, so that's where this would have access whenever this road would get developed.
So you have access 12-foot that goes from there down to the new subdivision?
Yeah, there's already a trail easement in there
Okay,
across that
in
lot,
that secondary lot.
that secondary lot.
Got it now. Follow you.
Let's see if I can pull it up. I think you can see it on land maps.
I was confused because the one showed a real little short stub. It says the Shorey, I'm thinking.
It's hard to get that long stretch in there on a flat on a piece of paper, so that's why there's those break lines in there.
That shows the same thing.
Thank you for clarifying that,
Yes,
Dustin.
thank you, Dustin. I get it now. So there's 12 feet all the way along that whole line, Jamie.
Correct.
That and that all the way down to the lot number 5 plus.
66 feet. At Shorey.
Yeah, at Shorey, that one, the outlot is 66
And then-
feet, and then it isn't on
So that-
easement until,
So that, is that 12-foot, or is it 66-foot that you have available to you? Or to the village? Or is that just 12-foot for,
it's just 12 foot for now. There's a outlot for future development that is still owned by the subdivider until it would be turned into a roadway in the future.
Little driveway.
so that right now, by the looks of it, is full of trees?
There is a trail through there. If you look,
Okay.
if you drive down Shorey and you peek in the woods, you can see a trail,
So
so.
you can get the fire truck down that trail?
Not in its current state, but they need to do a little brushing and
If the chainsaws were out on the fire trucks on all sides,
Yeah.
right?
today, no. Before they build, yes.
Okay, all right.
Training
You have a chainsaw
exercise?
safety class.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, anybody else have any other comments, questions, or concerns? All right, we'll move into the determination, which is on page 31 in the packet. Number Number 1, is the proposed rezoning consistent with the comprehensive plan as is required by Wisconsin statutes?
Yes,
Yes.
Number 2, does the rezoning further the purpose and intent of this chapter?
yes,
Number 3, does rezoning address any of the following that are not properly addressed in the current official zoning map? 1, the current map contains an error showing a use or development inconsistent with actual or intended land use. 2, change conditions such as new data, infrastructure, development, annexation, or zoning updates make the property better suited for a different zoning district. Or 3, changes in growth patterns or rates create a need for rezoning.
see 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah, agreed.
All right, 2 and 3. Number 4, does the proposed zoning district maintain the desired consistency of land uses, land use intensities, and land use impacts as related to the surroundings of the subject property?
Yes.
Yes.
I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gurnt,
Can I just, before we finalize it, we want to include the part about fire department
Access.
review.
This is just.
That doesn't need to go.
Sorry, next one.
that doesn't need to go, yeah, this is
Take it
just.
back. Take it back.
So we have a motion by Gurnt, do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mumper. On the question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And then item number 7. Project number 20230188, preliminary plat of Bull Junior View subdivision.
So if you go to page 27, I started that, so we can kind of straddle 27 and 28. Those are what staff has as would be the conditions that would go to the village board next week for the preliminary plat approval. So in here is where you would want to put that fire department statement, or it could just be wrapped into the public improvements, number 3. So in it, I'm having them change, I'm hoping they'll do it before next week anyway, so that I have a clean map for preliminary plat, but they do not need to do that for the board, but that would be what number 1 is Michael wanted the line type changed. In this plat, park and rec impact fees would be issued at the time of building permit issuance. They would be on those permits. 3 is the approval of the public improvement plans by Michael. They already have the we have all the easement locations on there, but they would basically need to make sure that they have reached out to all those entities. They also need to, number 5, work with the United States Postal Service, specifically the local postmaster, to make sure that if they are going to require the CBUs there, which are basically the Postal Service is kind of going to that for all new subdivisions. You don't know if they'll do that here or not, just because they're already serving the road, but that's kind of a standard statement that goes in there now, because the post office is trying to go to CBUs everywhere. And then there will be a development agreement that will come back and go to the board once the project, I guess, gets more finalized prior to final plat.
Your suggestion was to add the requirement for safer review. This is under number 3.
You could, or you could put it separately.
Dave, go ahead.
I just think there needs to be something in this so that when we start issuing occupancy permits, that whatever this trail or whatever, we've got it rushed out for what we need for public safety equipment.
That's typically something I think that would go in the development agreement.
Yeah. But you can make it as part of,
So that gets put in
I
there.
would like to have that in there.
Okay, so I think whoever makes a motion, it needs to include all 6 of the current conditions, and then we should probably just add a 7 for the fire department to review the plat and to ensure that that easement is brushed prior to any occupancy permits being issued.
And maintain.
Whatever this hammer turn or whatever is facilitates their largest piece of equipment.
So I can talk to the fire department, and I just want you guys all to know that the fire department actually reviews all site plans and plats.
Yeah, I was saying they currently do already.
We're already
Yeah.
on there on that, and it didn't raise a flag, but I will make sure to touch base with Marty and Josh, just in case they missed it.
I was gonna say, that's part of your deal.
They're part of our site plan review team, and they review the plats too, so.
All right, if there's nothing further, I'll entertain a motion.
We'll approve as presented, doing items 1 through 6 as presented, adding item 7 that to be reviewed again by publics or by Safer, make sure that the hammerhead cul-de-sac is sufficient for any emergency vehicle access turnaround, and that the path or whatever we want to call it is cleared of all brush prior to occupancy on any lots, and that it also be approved by Safer and maintained.
So we have a motion by Mumper, seconded by Zagami on the question. Gary,
Question, just how long and who's responsible for the maintenance on that?
of the road.
Yes, of the 12-foot trail. Yes.
I thought I had heard either Michael or Jen.
I think it should probably be in there somewhere, right?
I mean,
It needs to be stated.
I think right now the discussion is it would be there until it's not needed, because there's a secondary access point. And I guess if we get to the point where we could ask the developer to maintain it essentially into perpetuity until it's there.
So there's a secondary road going out to Shorey.
Yeah.
Will that come back as part of the development agreement?
It'd be put in there, yeah.
Do we need to include that in the motion or are we good without it?
I think you're sufficient to say that it needs to be brushed and maintained. We can make sure that we add that language, but it'll come back for board for review, so.
By the developer, question maintained by the developer.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 8, project number 20250439, conditional use permit at 4801 and 4803 Ross Avenue to allow for a salt storage bin within the WHPA Wellhead Protection Zone A overlay district. I'll open the public hearing. Presentation by applicant or staff.
Want to explain the project, Nick, or?
You like me to?
You can if you would like to.
Sure.
Just make sure you state your name and address, please. We all know you.
Nick
But-
Lansing, Marathon Technical Services, 1699 Schofield Avenue, Schofield, Wisconsin. I was contacted by the owner of the property saying they got a letter from the village stating that they had a salt shed in an area that was not allowed. And so because of the wellhead protection area, so he was at doing the conditional use permit, which was suggested by the village as a means to use it. So we came up with a plan. Basically in the code, it just says that you can't contaminate potential groundwater. So because it has an impervious bottom, mostly enclosed sides, came up with a plan to put a curb in the front to basically create an area that would hold rainwater if it got in there and it wouldn't run off the site. And so that's what the plan shows. The owner has, and the user has agreed to sweep up salt after every time they're loading trucks to make sure that that doesn't create an issue.
Thanks for the explanation, Nick. I just had a question. that curbing that that's shown on there.
Like a speed bump.
Yeah, I completely understand it and get what you're doing there to contain it. We just have never requested that of any other salt shed storage, like the ones we just approved, they were just covered. And as long as they were covered, we never made them do anything in the front, because how do you plow over that? How do you, if the salt, you dump the salt outside, how are you plowing over that curb? So that was my only question when I saw it. And the last ones we approved did not have that.
That's two that we approved.
Yeah.
If the village, I mean, obviously, if the village doesn't require the curb, then the owner would prefer not to do it. We're doing that as a means to keep the runoff water in the salt area.
Is there, but do we have runoff water going in there?
It'd only be if it rains sideways.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
If it's open in that direction, sooner or later you're getting
Yeah,
water.
oh, yeah, I completely understand. It's no different than the other ones we approved. If it rains sideways, it's gonna get inside of them as well.
This open side faces east, which is probably your least likely direction to get rain in.
The front section? The front section.
Yeah, but Gary, also, if you look at the asphalt, you all trace of salt on it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's salt or that's gravel or what that is.
Over salt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's because a lot of what happens is they dump outside and then they push it in, but that curbing, not quite sure, unless you make it a asphalt curb that's gradual, how a loader's not gonna tear that curb out by pushing that salt into the salt shed.
And that was my intent behind the curve, some sort of a.
Yeah.
speed bump type thing.
Yep.
Like a trapezoid.
Or rounded, or, yeah.
I think that asphalt has to be replaced because they're gonna dump on it. And the problem is not the salt itself, it's the dust of the salt. Those are the ones that are above ground. So I think that asphalt has to be replaced.
Scott, is that asphalt? I'm assuming, is that asphalt in good shape in front of there, Scott, or is that patched up a little bit?
I was thinking if you guys approve this, we probably do that, everything you probably see on that screen there.
Scott, can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
What's that?
Can you state your name and address for the record?
4803,
Ross Ave?
yeah,
And what's your last name?
Hobbit.
Okay, thank you.
Scott, does that grade run to the salt shed or does it run away from the salt shed?
Runs, it's kind of flat there, but it does run the other way up.
Okay.
Sort of south, there is a retention pond on the south side of the park, or north side, sorry, north. On the north side of the park, there'll be retention. But it is rather flat in that area.
Okay, anything else you'd like to add, Nick? No.
Available for questions.
How close is he to the wellhead exactly? Do you have like an aerial that shows where we are?
So he's about 14, a little over 1,400 feet away. I think in his memo, they do say they're within 1,200 feet, but they are a little over 1,400 feet away. And the boundary between wellhead protection zone A and B is almost right. If you follow Janus Avenue and just kind of make a 45-degree cut through that towards Corzala.
That's really at the edge of the boundary.
It's on the edge of the zone A, B boundary, yeah.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going with
It's
this,
the
like we
line.
Are
are,
we really?
yeah, I
It's the
definitely
line
want to
right
protect
there.
this
Oh,
water
yeah,
supply.
right
Yeah.
there's the line.
This is,
So it
this
runs
is
through the
as
middle of
close
the
as you're
lot.
gonna get to not having to do it, right?
He runs right through the lot.
So
To me, the biggest issue is the maintenance of the site more than anything else. I mean, the ability to enforce the discipline to manage the site, to clean it up, right? I mean, that's really what we're looking for here at this particular point. And if the asphalt is deteriorated to the point that you can't clean it, room it, shovel it, and get most of it off, then to Shane's point, you end up with a salt residue laying there, so. To me, the requirement would be to expect them to remediate the site in order to maintain the cleaning discipline.
Jen, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, we did, well, yes, I will add something. We did receive a complaint on this in February of 2025. When Dustin was on staff, he actually went out to the site, but at that point it was May. And they're done with their salt. So he did not see any salt at that time. So we did essentially close the case, but we knew that they ran, they were running a landscaping business out of there. So there was the potential that they could have that. So Jamie suggested we send a letter. So Audrey just sent a letter stating that if they were going to have salt on site, that we wanted to bring them into compliance. And so that's what that letter was for. So they did that right away. The letter went out. I mean, Audrey's been here since mid-October. I think the letter went out the end of October, early November, and they had applied in time to get on this meeting, so.
Scott, why do you have that opening on the east side? What's the purpose of it?
That's always been that way since I purchased it. They used to store up feed trucks and feed under it.
Maybe we should close it so the water wouldn't get in that side. Is it difficult to close it?
That's his only access to it.
But yeah, I guess if that's what you want, yeah.
Well, then the water wouldn't get to it.
About that side.
The water wouldn't get, the rainwater on the east side.
You talking about the south side, Husheng?
Is that south side or east of it?
The south side towards the track would be where
Where the opening is, right up there.
It's on the east side.
the east side is where they would come in with their loaders to get it. So you'd have to have some kind of a slidable door or something.
No, I was talking about that
He's talking
opening.
about that opening.
Yeah, that's on the south side.
That's
Yeah.
the side he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't think you have a problem with closing that stuff up, Scott, on the south side, do you? Because really, honestly, yeah, that's pretty easy. The east side is if we got a horizontal rain where you get water coming in. Have you ever seen that bleed out of there, Scott?
And like I say, every time they dump, they sweep it back in there too.
Well, let me ask you the question. How often does it rain in winter when you got salt in there?
Okay.
I was asking you, how often it rains horizontal in the winter when you got the salt in there? Is that mostly, Scott, is that gone in the summer, your salt?
They clean it all out and they put erosion control, like that matting and stuff in there during the summer.
Yeah, there wasn't any salt.
So that it's only the winter months that they actually put it there.
So then I guess I agree with Joe is, why don't we just require you to maintain the front area where the asphalt's busted up a little bit? Maybe we just clean that up a little bit. And if you're not using it in the summer, we don't have to worry about it eroding away. Because if they clean it up and it's gone, and it sounds like Jen said there was nothing there this summer at all.
I thought if I repaved that area that you see there, I could pave it that it's flat and it doesn't run away. It will literally stay in the.
Just a second, but is it possible that it could be pitched so that it runs away from there? Not being flat, but actually put a little grade on it.
I don't think we want that.
Well, why not? It's better than that 4.5 foot, 4.5 inch speed bump.
Are you saying grade it back towards the building? You,
Away
well,
from.
you don't want the salt to run away. That's the point of it.
Yeah.
You don't want it to get in the ground. You want to keep it, and if, that was the other question or was a statement I was gonna ask is, what if we made them raise it up, the asphalt up and sloped it back to the building? The problem is then the water gets in there, it sits in there. You don't want what they don't want is the salt that's out in the front of there is for that to rain on there or get that, and it gets down and it gets into the groundwater and it contaminates the well. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, that we have a project, at our company that we've worked on and it's very frustrating because the Merrill truck stop, every 3 months, we have to switch their well pump. It snaps the shafts from the corrosion from the salt. They can't get decent, they got a salt recovery system there. And it's just, we can't do anything but change a pump every 3 months. So we've got to shut the building down for 3 days for your safe water sample. So there's a potential of the contamination, and what that's from is just because it's the lowest spot and there's so much salt there, all the water runs to where they're pulling from off the highway. So.
All right, we can have some further discussion a little bit further down in the conditional use hearing here. Public comments, is there anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a comment? Step right up, Mr. Pincinel.
Good evening, so Jim Pincinel, 510 Street, Weston. First off, I'm in full support of this business and its operations. I think good folks, I think you do a good job. I can run a good business in the village. But I think in general, the village of Weston is not business friendly. It does a horrendous job at working with the business community to educate, advise, and compromise with businesses to promote and facilitate operations of new and existing businesses. So we already talked about, there was a case open on this earlier this year in February. We didn't come back. When I say we, the village of Weston did not come back and look at that until May. How is that even remotely acceptable, right? If I say, gosh, Mr. Jordan, the sidewalk in front of your house has a bunch of snow in it. Hey, we got to clear it off here. It's been 48 hours. You're in violation. If I come back in May to inspect it, I bet you all that salt or all that snow is melted, right? Like you completely missed the boat on that. Okay. How long has salt been stored at this site? I don't think it just started in February. I think it's been stored on this site for a long time. That'd be a great question to ask here a little bit later. This conditional use permits application letter was dated November 6th. Why did staff wait so long to send that letter? You knew in February we had salt on this site. Do we not care about safe drinking water? Does it not matter? Right? We had a professional engineer visit this site. I assume he visited. But even by these photos here, you can clearly see that there's less cracks in an alligator's tail than in this parking lot, right? None of that was noted in any of the documentation from the engineer. So I don't know if it was there in the intent. It sounds like the intent is to repave it, but it surely doesn't read that way in here. I talked earlier this evening about treating all the projects the same, okay? And we've had at least 2 of these salt sheds come in front of this body within the last 13 months. Okay, I'll talk now about Hilgeman Street. On that, these specific conditions were required. Concrete block was to be sealed to the ground. The block on this site are not free of voids, cracks, and sealed to one another or the ground, right? So we're going to treat this project differently. Sweeping of salt after the loading process was required. We talked, it doesn't show what this 4 1/4 inch curb looks like. It sounds like there's a plan for that, but clearly we talked, we're not going to sweep over a 4 1/4 inch curb if it's a standard issue curb. A limit of 200 tons of salt was put on one of the other sites. There's no limit to salt here. They can store an unlimited amount of salt. That's up to you guys, right? Doors are required to be installed on the Hilgeman site. There's no ask for doors here. On the same token, 13 months later, after you approve the Hilgeman site, there's no doors there either. So not only do we wait from February until May to look at this site where salt is infiltrating the ground and it's not clearly swept and it's not even permitted. But in 13 months, we didn't have a chance to just drive by and say, oh my goodness, there's no doors on this. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna wait until next November and mail them a letter? That seems like a little bit too little, too late. It's a complete disregard for the safety of our drinking water supply. And really, shame on the applicant for not following the guidelines, but more so shame on the staff for not holding them accountable. You need to do better. There's no bond requested here. I don't know that there needs to be a bond, but what happens if something does happen? We've talked about, Mr. Gurn just said, hey, you know, we got this other site that we're working on every 3 months. We got to change the well pumped because the shaft snaps in half because of salt infiltration. What happens if the groundwater is contaminated here,
That comes from Marathon County. They didn't do nothing about it.
right? And then what testing, I know we test our wells regularly and the Public Works Department does a great job with that, but how specifically is salt infiltration tested? Is there something that states that, or we have to wait until it physically shows up at a well and shows, hey, we got salt in well 4 or 3 or whichever, before it and by then it's too late. Thank you.
So
Thank
Can I-
you. Hold on just a second. We're in public comment period right now. Is there anybody online or in the audience that wishes to make a public comment on this matter?
Bill Greenwald, 5005 Arrow Street. My property butts up against Courts Office, directly across the street from this facility. I don't want to see it there at all unless I get a guarantee that the salt will be completely contained. I was in the place today, looks like a big stuff. If that's the way the business is going to be run, when salt is in there, possibly contaminating my property, I want nothing to do with it. All I have to say.
Thank you. And then, sir, you back there as well?
Dan Higginbotham, 2625 Northwestern Avenue. Just have a little bit different angle, I guess. You know, it's kind of like it seems like a little microcosm worrying about the salt shed here when, you know, how many hundreds or thousands of tons get spread on the roads each year. And I guess what I would like to see, the subject testing was brought up. Maybe there's testing, or is there testing from Weston storm outfalls? I would really, you know, I'm concerned about the river, and I'm concerned about it from a river angle. I mean, obviously groundwater is extremely important from a well standpoint, but I'm also concerned about what happens once the runoff occurs. If there's testing at the storm outfalls, and when a lot of these storm outfalls were put in 40, 50, 60 years ago, they were put in at locations to get the water and whatever else away, out of sight, out of mind. So there's many of these outfalls that go to the river, adjacent to the river, some of them short of the river, some of them real near the river. So I'd like to, from a resident standpoint, resident town of Weston, I would like to see test results from some of the storm outfalls. That's all.
Thank you. Any other comments from anyone in the audience or online on this matter? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. So we have discussion and recommendation to the Board of Trustees by the Planning Commission. Gary, I think you had a comment that you wanted to make.
I was just gonna make a comment of how much, what we see in a little bit that we see that's outside of Scott's or any salt shed is kind of no different than what gets put on the roads every day here. And we're making a big deal out of it, but in certain situations, there is reasons to make big deals out of it, right? That there's a lot of contamination or a lot of it that's getting misused. But in the same token, there's businesses that rely on salt, gas stations, restaurants, Target, you know, all these facilities that need salt, and it's only cost prohibitive to have these in local areas for these people to use them. So you just have to be conscious of how they're being utilized and how they're being cleaned up. So nobody's really following the county or state, and there's really no regulations because Marathon County is the one salting the highway, you know, up in Merrill, and they're not getting any help with that. So I'm not saying we want to do that or allow that, but I think as long as we can get our citizens to comply. And you are right. I did see that they do not have doors on their facility. I saw that a couple weeks ago. The one over by Hilgeman. So when we give that condition out like that, who is following up on that, Jen?
On the project that's closed out, it would be Travis.
Enrollment. Okay. So that.
I don't think they've told us that they were complying completed. So that's some of the issue that we have is, so basically that was approved earlier this year, so we would look at it next year.
Okay.
What was it, 2 years that they have when you issue a permit to build? Correct? John,
Commercial project, it's 1 year.
1 year? Okay.
So typically we allow them a building season and then we'll go and look if we haven't heard from them. Larger projects, they tell us they're done,
Sure.
that kind of thing. The smaller ones, not so much. So we have to go and actually schedule those.
So do we need to make it a condition that they can't put salt in their sheds until we do a final on it? Is that something that if we're,
You know,
You're talking for new construction, right?
yeah, for someone that's coming in for a conditional use, maybe we just let them know that they can't put salt in their sheds until they get a conditional use inspection. That it's all clear. Maybe that's the way we gotta do it moving forward. You know, just a thought, how to, because there's a lot of moving parts here. And it's not always staff's fault. There's lots of stuff and lots of time. There's not enough time in the day for you guys to do everything you do. I see it, I watch it, and there's just a lot going on for staff, and sometimes things slip through the cracks. No different, Scott probably didn't realize there was a permit at the time, for a salt shed. I don't know, maybe, who knows what happened, but here we are. We gotta move past it and we gotta get it fixed. So.
Roy?
My comments are, just to speak to some of the public comments are, I think everything is an order of magnitude. If you were looking at putting a salt shed the size of Lambeau Field that was 20 feet away from a wellhead, I'm gonna be a lot more diligent and a lot more concerned and I have a lot more concerns. And it's one of the reasons I asked, where exactly are we in relation to the wellhead here? And the comment that came back was, we are nearly out of the area that you would even enforce this in the first, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the
For
difference
wellhead
between,
protection, right? You're nearly out of the range of where you would even be discussing it, correct? Because that was one of my thoughts when I looked at that, where are we concerned about, right? I mean, now, does that mean we don't concern ourselves? No, but again, everything's in order of magnitude, at least in where I come from. So
it would still be in wellhead protection zone B, but there's less restrictions in B than
Okay, there's
A.
less restrictions, but, okay, my point. And why do we have less restrictions? Because it's less likely that anything's going to happen. In regards to the gentleman that's here concerned about his property, have there been any adverse impacts on your property that you know of to date?
I've lived there 2.5 years. It's a new dwelling. And I get to absorb all the noise, but business was there before I built the house. However, have any one of you people sitting here gone and looked at the facility before you decided to rule on it tonight?
Mhm.
Personally, every one of you, from this end to that end, have you driven into the property where the salt shed is, seeing if it's the way it's supposed to be before you decided to bring it to a meeting tonight? I think that was not done right. You people need to look at it first before you even talk about the issue, do you not? That'd be like sending a blind guy over there to do it. You're not doing the job.
All right, point of order. At this point, I'm gonna ask the commission, this is for discussion of the commission members and staff at this point. This is not a public engagement point in this meeting. That was earlier, so. Thank you.
Sir, you're not welcome, honest. You have no interest in trying to solve the problem. Why should I sit here and listen to your BS, really? All I have heard in the last half hour on this issue is tap dancing. If you want dancing lessons, go to a dance studio, for God's sake. Deal with the issue. That's all I ask, is you take a look at it before you make, everyone you people drive and look at it first. Nothing against you, sir, you're trying to make a living. But everybody needs to look at it before you decide on something. The typical way the government hands it, just keep kicking it down the road to somebody else's problem.
I can address your chloride issue. We do test our wells quarterly for chloride levels. So we have some wells that do fluctuate slightly seasonally. The DNR has a chloride secondary standard. All of our wells are underneath the secondary standard for chloride. But we do keep track of it. We did change some of our snow storage procedures probably about 6 years ago. We used to stack snow at Kennedy Park, which is right next to the Alta Verde well and also close to the Bladel well. We stopped doing that because we started seeing chloride levels rise. So we do track it and we do change our, we did change some of our procedures due to that. The question about stormwater outfalls, we do check, monitor for dry weather flows, which, are done in August where we don't find levels of salt, chloride in there. I think it'd be hard. You'd almost have to go out there while it's raining to try to grab that sample to see what you get. And then from that point, it'd be hard to track it back during that flash storm. We do dry weather flow tests on our outfalls because it hasn't rained in a week, and when the water is running, it's usually easier to figure out who's dumping what or flushing something down a storm sewer because nobody else is. But if it's during a rain event, in this area, it'd be all the rain coming down Ross Avenue, Mesker, parts of Schofield Ave, all of that would flow through that same stormwater systems.
Hard to pin down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd just like to state for the public record, my ask of him on his property was because he said, yeah, half my grass is dead. And, there's been adverse impacts on my property already. Now, I think that's a factor to consider. Yeah, it was the purpose. He's been there for 2.5 years and his comment was nothing in that regard, if I understood him correctly. So regardless of what he felt I was attempting to accomplish, that was what I was attempting to accomplish by asking him that question, right? Well, has there been an adverse impact?
It's a good idea to have a door or something in front of it. To eliminate that, snow get in there, snow drift get in there, or rain get in there, or because this is not food right now. This is after being used for a while. When they dump 200 ton of salt in there, this storage is gonna be full.
Scott, how much do you,
Just gonna ask that.
how much do you dump in there? Is that typically the amount you have in there right now?
Yeah, I would say about that or a little more.
And the stuff on the outside, on the side of the block there, Scott, where you see some salt residue on the side of the block, is that just being pushed in from the loader from being dumped outside?
I don't think so, because I think that's the most they've had in there this year. Because they didn't bring any till November or mid-November.
And how often do they replenish that, Scott?
Well, it depends on the winter.
Yeah, I'm saying typically if you go through that, is that, you're right.
I truck from Green Bay, so.
Yeah.
If it gets a little less, a truck will bring a little.
So then do they usually do that with a semi then, Scott? Or is it quads?
The semi was walking, and dump, so they bring.
Okay.
Scott, how long have you been storing salt out there?
I would say 12 years.
Michael, in 12 years, have we noticed any issue with the wellhead?
There hasn't been any noticeable changes in salt levels, no.
Okay. I would probably agree. I would prefer to see, in lieu of that curb, just redo the asphalt so that it can be cleaned up easier. I know there was a couple accusations made that nobody drove in there. I know I drove in there twice. One of which was Saturday morning after it snowed, when they were hauling salt out of here. And there was no salt, or they made a very good effort to push all their salt back in that building that they could. So for anyone to sit here and look me in the face and say that I didn't go look, I did.
I was there as well. There was snow on the ground, but there was no salt piles or residue outside. I'm assuming you're gonna get some of it from the loader tracks and stuff. And when the water settles or everything melts, you're gonna have that because it's a concentrated area where you have salt. It's no different than when you see the salt truck at the intersection where he leaves a pile or whatever it may be, Or a parking lot that's oversalted, that's all chalked and white. It doesn't look like it's even asphalt. So,
And my only other comment is, it's maybe a future agenda item is something that we let's say it should be inspected biannually or for anybody that we issue a conditional use permit or some interim period. I don't know that it needs to be annually, but.
well, I don't think it needs to be inspected in the summer. It should be in the winter.
Well, and.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but you know, maybe you say, okay, every whatever years we're gonna go out, because concrete does deteriorate from salt, we all know that, right?
Yep.
That's an obvious thing, and maybe that's something we wanna put as a future agenda item. I'm just gonna throw that out there for consideration. I mean, I'm all for protecting the environment, but I also understand, I put salt down Weston sewer system every night after when we cook, right? I mean, it's a minor amount, but you put any salt on your food, you go into the water supply and I threw some out this weekend on my drive. So some more is heading for,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I just am gonna say, like, I think everyone contributes to this, and it's in order of magnitude, how much and how dangerous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the reason for a conditional use permit is because of the wellhead protection. And the reason you would want to have a conditional use permit is to enforce the discipline of whatever it is that your expectation is. So the idea of allowing him to continue doing what he's been doing, the important thing is to be able to hold him accountable in the event that there is reason to be concerned. So adding more to that, you know, when you consider how much is dumped on the streets and everywhere else, we really are talking about to your point, an order of magnitude is really what it's about. So I'm for giving him that conditional use permit with just some
Maintenance.
Accountability.
Yeah. And is there any follow-up inspection, Jen, we would give out a conditional use permit?
Depends on the type of conditional use permit that it is. So a lot of times it's tied to like a building project, so it's like, say, the case of those storage units. They basically go into the building permit phase of things and we do a project closeout with them. Typically, something like that wouldn't come up again unless there was an issue and somebody went and looked at the conditional use permit or they tried to expand it. So
Yeah, so it's complaint driven.
a lot of it is complaint driven.
But I guess, and I'm just gonna throw this out again, the reason we're giving a conditional use permit in this instance is to protect the environment.
The wellhead, yep.
Correct?
Yep.
I mean, that's really the reason, right? That we're doing this. And if you're gonna protect the environment, I think there's some logic to saying every X amount of time, or you go out and re-inspect. Because to your point, when you build a building and you close it out and it's done, if there's a conditional use permit, you don't assume that anything is going to occur after the fact necessarily, right?
Detrimental to the whole
That would be detrimental to the whole community, right? Whereas in this instance, this is a conditional use permit where subsequently it could be something that impacts the entire community.
if not maintained properly.
If not maintained. And how do you determine that? You inspect it, right? So I'm just gonna throw that out to the committee and say, that would be my thing, maybe on any salt storage shed conditional use permit, we look at go forward with including some type of and I don't know what a reasonable time period is. I'd lean on staff for that. I don't have a note but.
Problem with the salt is when you get to the groundwater, it's very difficult to clean it up.
Yep.
Very difficult. I had a project in the north. Highway department contaminates the whole village. Nobody can drink the water anymore. And they were dumping it on the floor, on the ground, and they were pushing it in the shed. And then also they use it, put them on the road. Because we find them in all the ditches around the perimeter. So and it affect the whole community. So if we are concerned, I think there is a right to be concerned.
So I believe the ones that you guys have issued in the last year, year and a half are the only ones that we have currently right now. Or that have been done.
The one that was discussed on Mesker Street has never been approved. And that one is about 800 feet away from a well. And I guess would have, so it's almost half the distance of what this is, and they haven't met the requirements yet to
Is
show
that
us.
MD turf.
Yeah,
So I received an email from them and they're not even gonna put it there anymore.
okay,
Cause he had asked about that if they were all good with their occupancy permit if they weren't doing the salt shed,
sure.
so.
And to piggyback on that, this conversation about doors has come up a couple times, and I was just kind of thinking about that. I've plowed for a number of different people over the years, and one thing I've noticed is that the second salt gets wet, you know what happens to it? It hardens. You can't put it in a spreader. So I would think that if there was a water issue, the people paying for this product would have already done something about it before we noticed, because it's not cheap to buy. I mean, I don't know how you can say that there's water getting in there and things and salt running out of there, because when I was over there, I can tell you right now, it looked like it was not hard, like there was not water getting inside of it. Granted, it had snowed that night and I'm sure they were using it, but do they need to have doors on it if it's pushed back far enough is what I'm getting at. I mean, especially, if it's only stored there in the winter, to a couple other people's point, how often do we get rain in the winter? It's usually snow, and the snow doesn't create the runoff coming out of there.
So to your comment, there's no snow blowing in on that open upper area there above the concrete.
The day I was there, it wasn't snowing, so I can't say for certain.
I was just wondering if that's even something that's necessary to ask him. He's already said he would do it if we asked him.
Oh, are you talking about on the upper south side?
Yeah, just
I don't think it's required,
okay.
in my opinion, but I don't think you see significant. I think it's coming in the open side no matter what, right? And it's snow, it's getting melted right away typically, and if it gets saturated, you're right, it's clumpy and chunky and it's garbage. It's not usable. Like we just, my opinion, we just require some maintenance. I think putting a curb in there's gonna be a detriment to them. And then we just try to see if staff can, if we implement these things in the future, we maybe have inspections every 2 years or something, 2 or 3 years, or whatever staff thinks is adequate. I mean, our asphalts get salt on them every year on the roads. How long do the roads last, Michael, when they get pounded with salt? Asphalt's better than concrete, obviously.
I mean, we have some asphalt roads that are, 30, 40 years old, so.
Yeah.
You maintain it just like any other parking lot in the village. I mean, there's parking lots in the village I'm probably more concerned about
Yeah.
some of the stuff.
Yeah, I get it.
Pure white and chalky if you drive on them.
Yeah. Cause they get over salted. And that's also just overcharging a customer, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then it goes right down the storm sewer, right to the river like Dan is suggesting. Which a lot of those people aren't too concerned with it, but because they probably don't know any better, they just think that they're billing the customer, You're trying to make some extra money. Well, is it on our?
I don't know if someone's getting ready to make a motion, my only suggestion would be we fix the asphalt.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
When you load a truck and you pull out of there, it's easy to clean up.
Scott, can I ask you one more question? Do you guys, do you go in with a loader or a skid steer to clean that up when they dump, or do you broom it in after?
They push it up and then they usually got a broom and they sweep it up when it's good straight.
So no matter what, if you even got little ruts in the asphalt, you're still sweeping 90% of that stuff.
There's no run for the asphalt, no.
Okay.
I mean, that blacktop should, but, if you guys approve it, I think I'd like to do that area over, and then it would be good, have American do it or whatever, and make it somewhat flat, and so it can't run out of the building,
Yeah.
I don't like that berm because like you said, you're gonna I mean, it sounds good and it'll look good, but after they dump a couple loads and you get a rookie on a loader and the berm's gonna be gone.
You have asphalt in the spreaders.
I think it's better to just put it in there, that's the good housekeeping, and we keep it swept in,
Yeah,
you know.
yep. I agree with you, Scott. Well, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to,
Is there a determination?
oh, sorry.
So this one has a couple different ones, so it starts with, there's criteria under, I don't know what page it's on. But it's before the determined.
Before we do that, can I ask one more question? Scott, did you even know you needed a permit for that?
No.
So he wouldn't have known because Scott's would have been there. The issue was when Riverview Construction took it over. So
Yeah.
that was when Valerie had been trying to get a zoning permit on them for
Okay.
a number of years. So if he was in there 12 years before, he was underneath the old.
Also, the old code wouldn't have required him to have that under wellhead protection even,
I don't know without
Okay.
looking at it. The code was totally different.
because I would have swore that all the building additions that he's done or build outs there, that you guys would have been there, Roman, you and Scott would have been there for
Hasn't been
inspections.
anything
Some
for a
minor
while.
stuff, but I mean, they're, all of that.
I meant in the last 12 years, 10, 12 years.
So it was probably at least 8 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't think Scott did anything in like we're trying to hide her, that the staff didn't do their job correctly or
We were
whatever.
attempting to get a new zoning occupancy when it changed hands, because at
Okay.
that point, we didn't know that it was his son that just started a new company, but it was the same
Oh,
thing.
oh yeah, because he went to work for Riverview.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, understandable. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So Jen, you said there was something on a previous page that we needed to review as well? Or are you
So if
talking
you want to
about-
go through, there are criteria to talk about, the general criteria.
What page?
So you probably should just look through that on page 41. Those pertain specifically to the wellhead protection district. So it would be C, approved conditions. So you may impose conditions to provide, and then there's the 3 different ones. So that's some of the things that Jim had brought up in his. So you have the ability to require environmental or safety monitoring, a financial guarantee in a form and amount determined by the village, and any requirement authorized for existing potential sources of contamination and land uses under subsection 6. So those are things specific to the wellhead protection area, which is what their conditional use is for. So if you want to entertain any of those, you could. And then the determination for just the general, that it's a conditional use, are the normal questions that you do. So I don't know if you want to talk about any of those. If there's any additional conditions that you want to put on,
Was
like on tonnage or,
3 put on any of the previous ones? I don't recall that they were, I'm just double checking.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Did we
So-
put conditions on any of the other ones
so
that we did?
in the
Tonnage-wise?
one that was done at Kidra's, whatever. how do you say-
Johnowitz was 200 tons.
200 tons, and then
I think it
he's
was based off
supposed
the
to,
size of his unit. How much he could fit in it was based off his size.
right, and his was a brand new one, and he's also supposed to supply annually an inspection report of the salt storage shed on an annual basis. And that doesn't start until June. And he received his permit late
Who
last year.
inspects that?
Well, I don't know, he's supposed to get it from Ed, I don't.
I go back again, I think if we're
He's
gonna
supposed to
address
provide
this,
it
we
to the
gotta address it
village.
on an overall basis. I'd rather do that than individually in each cup. I mean, I like the idea of having the village on some timeline, re-inspect anything that would potentially cause a wellhead.
You follow what I'm
protection
saying is
problem.
who's gonna inspect him?
You can force a third party to do it.
But right now we don't have that, so.
He's supposed to supply it. The way that
Yeah.
when you guys wrote the conditional use permit back in 24 for Cadron and Woods, you had that he was
Get like REI to.
he was required to have a certain number of tons. He couldn't exceed 200 tons. And then he was supposed to annually supply an inspection report. So he's basically supposed to get somebody to certify that his storage shed is still sound and basically not affecting the groundwater.
Nick or Dustin, you guys do that?
Environmental.
There's probably no like regulations on criteria for an inspector.
That's my question is how do you,
The inspection would just be to make sure that the building is in good maintenance, you know, there's not holes everywhere, the roof didn't get removed, it's.
yeah,
I mean, the DOT comes and inspects all our salt shed, you know, they historically, you know, they hire a third party to do it and.
who's that third party?
It was AECom, I think Ayers did it too, I
Oh.
forget who.
Okay.
You know, they have a statewide contract with somebody to go
Sure.
around, and check all the salt sheds. Which I'm guessing stem from a lot of the issues you guys have brought up of why you want to make sure those are inspected.
We've had reports from REI. I can think of the repair shop and.
Yeah, REI's done several environmental,
They did the environmental at 55.
yeah, but I mean, I think that would be tough to go through, I mean. An environmental analysis would require soil borings annually, I guess to check. That might be a little overkill, but making sure that,
Here's what makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Just a common sense. You or.
yeah, one of us would go
one of you
look at
guys
it.
Goes out on a periodic basis, inspects these things. If you go, oh my gosh, this looks bad. Then we bring it back to the village board and say, with a provision that you could go get an outside or require an outside inspection, but only if it.
Well, if there's a block wall blown out and the salt's
Sure,
spewing all
or if
over
you're
the
gonna
place.
see it where it's, yeah, the pavement's completely deteriorated. They're not keeping up with any kind of cleaning whatsoever, or that you can see it draining away into, you know, any of those kind of things, you know. But I think that's addressed outside of this tonight and.
Correct.
And it's.
It would be something for
A future agenda item where, yeah, staff would put some thought into this and say, okay, so we don't have 27 cups with salts, you know, sheds and each one is different. I hear the commentary from, you know, agree, but. Yeah.
I mean, I tried to find the volume of what that would handle, and I doubt it's gonna be a solid block of salt 10 feet high through there. I mean, that'd be 270 tons essentially of what they could fit in there if it was a truly stacked all the way through, so. It's maybe half of that if you consider the slant of a load, so,
Gronowitz isn't that big.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's 200 tons. He's never gonna fit 200 tons in that.
16 by 30 is his. Kudrano, it's a 16 by 30.
Is
So
it?
Scott, do you ever have more than 200 tons in there?
Yeah, I don't,
I mean, we put a lot of salt in there, and we did push it up, but I don't know if that was 100 tons or 200 tons.
Yeah, I think 200 would be probably what the max that could handle just based on its volume.
yeah, and ultimately, it's a matter of how quick you're using it and how you're responding to refill it, right? How much use is being put in it. And yeah, you sure, I think the goal with that is it's not spewing out the front of the thing, right? Full. And the rain or the snow's getting at it and it's deteriorating away down the drain or melting. All right, we've spent a lot of time on this.
So I have the determination on well. Back to the conditions. Sounds like the last one that we did, the only thing we put on was that inspection and then the 200 ton limit. So whoever wants to make a motion, if you want those included,
Oh, they should include the asphalt in there too.
The asphalt?
Yeah.
Well, we gotta go through the decisions first, though, and before we have a motion.
correct? Any other comments before we move through the determination? All right, number one, is the proposed conditional use consistent with the comprehensive plan, this chapter, and all other plans, programs, and ordinances adopted by the village?
Yes.
2, the proposed conditional use in its proposed location and as depicted on the required site plan will not result in a substantial or undue adverse impact on nearby property, the character of the neighborhood, environmental factors, traffic factors, parking, public improvements, public property or rights of way, or other matters affecting the public health, safety, or general welfare, either as they now exist or as they may in the future be developed as a result of the implementation of the provisions of this chapter, the comprehensive plan, or all other plans, programs, and ordinances adopted by the village. 3, does the proposed conditional use maintain the desired consistency of land uses, land use intensities, and land use impacts as related to the environs of the subject property?
Yes.
4, is the proposed conditional use located in an area that will be adequately served by and will not impose an undue burden on any of the improvements, facilities, utilities, or services provided by public agencies serving the subject property?
Yes.
Number 5, do the potential public benefits of the proposed conditional use outweigh potential adverse impacts of the proposed conditional use after taking into consideration the applicant's proposal and any requirements recommended by the applicant to ameliorate such impacts?
Yes.
We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulations of the asphalt being in good service repair. And an inspection, I believe the inspection, I don't know how to state this, that it should come up with staff or how we make all of them a requirement for all site, for all, I mean, if it's 3 years, I think it's something that we need to.
For the purpose of the motion, I think this would only apply to this. If you want to talk about that, we would have to put that on a future agenda.
Okay, all right. Well, that it needs to be inspected. Make sure that it's adequate and it's not blown out and the roof and the sidewalls are containing the salts within. And we talked about asphalt. What was the other item?
Has to be in place.
That asphalt has to be in place and in good condition.
Are you allowing them to remove the curb if they want to?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Are you allowing them to remove the curb if they want to?
Yeah, I don't believe we need to have that curb installed in there. I think that's just gonna create more of a problem than it is gonna help anything.
I think should ask engineer, see what he has in mind to propose that curve.
Nick?
Great.
Like to explain that?
You're in the middle of a motion, so right now you got to finish your motion and then we got to get a second and then we can go to discussion.
Okay.
Maximum?
Tonnage. Maximum tonnage, I guess I would say is, I don't know what the calculation is. I don't know what the size of it is, but I just feel that should be far enough back in the building so that it can't bleed out of the building, right? With snow or potential rain. I don't know what we would get for rain, but if it's half the depth of it. Scott, what is the depth of that? Do you know? 30 feet deep? I'd say at least.
It's
10
6
foot
of
back.
those,
10 foot back, yeah.
10 foot back from the front, maximum. I don't know how we can put that, but.
so it's 20.
If
Should be
you
10
probably-
foot from the-
Yeah, put a tonnage in.
I think it's
No,
gonna
I
be
don't think you can
I
put
think
it,
the last one was 200
200
tons.
tons.
but we don't have the size to know what the tonnage is. If we're gonna give them a tonnage and if the tonnage is all past the 10 foot marker, what does that do us any good?
You had a number, didn't you, Michael?
I don't think they would be able to store more than 200. I mean, if they put it,
Should we just go a little bit, I mean, is it okay with the gentleman if we went with 150?
Why don't we just say 200 tons or not to exceed 10 feet back?
That's what we did for the last one and theirs was smaller.
Is that good, Jen?
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve with asphalt and good repair,
I'll repair it
Two-
twice. Please.
200 tons or a 200 ton limit on the salt and the inspection annually.
200 limit on, and or not exceeding 10 feet from the exterior.
Okay.
And start.
Is that clear enough?
Sure, yeah.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion made by Gurnt, seconded by Mumper. On the question.
I asked question from engineer. Could you explain what did you have in mind when you proposed the curb?
Yeah, so it would be multi-purpose. I guess one would be if it did get rainwater in the building, that it wouldn't come out and run out to the pond and potentially into the groundwater. The other reason was it would give a clear delineation of where the front of the building was or wherever that curve is placed. That salt wouldn't come beyond it. It would kind of keep the salt in the building. So those were the two main reasons.
Thank you.
My only concern that I have is, Scott, can you tell me on your particular shed, are they dumping out in front of the shed on the asphalt and then pushing in? So that's the problem, Nick.
I knew it's a hassle or it's an inconvenience. I'm just telling you why
I get why you,
Right, that was my question, what he had in his mind
yeah,
when you proposed that.
I can tell you from my experience, I think it's gonna be easier to clean it without that curve.
without it, definitely.
Okay, anything further on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everybody. All right, number 9, project number 2025044, a certified survey map with road right-of-way dedication for 2819 Ross Avenue. PIN number 192280817200989.
So this is basically one large single-family lot off of Ross Avenue that has a home on the property with a garage. If you go to page 55, you'll see the layout of the certified survey map that they're asking for approval on. The reason that this is coming before the Plan Commission and the board is that small cul-de-sac, essentially, this is kind of similar to what we were talking about before. This large lot has existed for quite some time. There's been a number of different development projects that have come through over the years with redeveloping this site. And so when the Misty Pines subdivision went in, there was basically a stub left. So Barclay Way just kind of ends near this lot. And so what they would be doing is they would be extending into that slightly to create 3 buildable single-family lots that would be accessed off of Barclay Way. They are providing for an outlot 1, which is going to be used for basically the utility connection to lot 4, because there's a potential for that site to be redeveloped at a later date. And also have pedestrian access to allow the owners some leeway. They are looking at potentially coming back at a later date to rezone lot 4 and potentially having some multifamily housing, some type of that, either small apartments or duplexes or something like that. This is directly across the street on Ross Avenue there, not far as Crystal Finishing, and also a number of apartments already. So they would have that outlot 1 would provide a pedestrian access so that whatever happens in lot 4, they would have access into walking through the Misty Pines subdivision as some connection point so that they're not having to go out to Ross Avenue and around. That way they could get to shopping safely because there is sidewalks throughout that whole subdivision. So they're looking at creating the 3 single-family lots now, and then there would be that existing 4th lot that would remain. So they're asking for a small road right-of-way dedication, and that is why it is before the Plan Commission and then to go to the village board. The only issue that staff had with it is just the certificate, because this would be signed by President Maloney and the clerk, because there needs to be that road right-of-way dedication.
Okay. Any discussion by Plan Commission? Oh, go ahead.
Michael? Was that outlet one gonna have, sidewalk access, or would that just be future walking path?
Yeah, so that outlet is for pedestrian and utilities.
I know utilities were gonna go through, but I wasn't sure if the requirement was for sidewalk to go through there right away, or if that would be something for a future.
Yeah, I mean, it does say like it's a 25-foot utility and ped access.
Okay.
I'm not thinking it would necessarily be sidewalk though.
I mean, it could be a path, it could be sidewalk, it would be,
Yeah, because I'm assuming from what, working with her on that lot 4, that was gonna be more of a private, but I don't know if we wanted to try to tie something over back into Ross Avenue, that's all, for walking.
yeah, that was the thought, was it would connect to the sidewalk on Barclay within that existing and get a connection out to Ross Avenue, correct?
So that would be, but is that being required of her right away? Or required of this right away, or is that something that would be on potential of lot 4 when that gets redeveloped?
I guess that would be up to you guys. If you want it to be required as part of this, we would have it as part of this development. Otherwise, it would, the land division is there, so it could be put at a future time or.
Yeah, the only reason why is because I just feel like we would be coming off the existing off Barclay, go down that little stub, and then we go to the backyard of somebody else's house. They might think they're free to walk into there. Or wasn't sure if that would be part of 4 stipulation that they would pave or they would concrete it at that point, and then utilities would be hooked up at the same point, right?
Correct, yeah. So we're not quite to a spot yet where I'd say the water main is gonna be extended to
The end of the property line.
end of the property line or right at the bulb right now. So yeah.
Yeah, that was the only questions I had, and maybe that's not even relevant at this point with it.
And the cul-de-sac has been reviewed by Safer.
Yeah, that's a standard bulb.
Okay.
Jennifer, excuse me, ask a question. What's the requirement of the size for these lots?
They're single family small lot.
Are they okay?
They just need to be 10,000 square feet.
By creating this cul-de-sac that if they do develop it, you said lot 4 would be apartments?
So right now it's still zoned single family
Right.
and she's renting the house. So that would be a potential development project down the road. She hasn't decided exactly what she wants to do with that yet. So if she did propose something, that would most likely require a rezone. So they'd be coming back in front of you for that.
Pardon my ignorance, but what does the code state on creation of cul-de-sacs that is to be avoided?
Well, it already has a cul-de-sac. This is actually making it better
Existing, okay.
because right now it's just basically a dead end.
Okay, but what does the code say in regards to cul-de-sacs?
So there's a certain length.
Length, and it's under that length too, Michael, isn't it?
It's 1,000 feet. I mean, it does. I believe it does say cul-de-sac should not be permitted. I guess if permitted, they should be under 1,000 feet. In general, I'm trying to find the exact wording. I know we've made exceptions for other ones because of environmental, you can't get a road through a wetland or other, development that already exists and you're trying to utilize the land as much as possible.
If it says that they should be a prohibit or whatever, then maybe we should look at changing the wording at some point, because it seems like we're gonna run into this continuously, right? If you want to develop and not cut yourself off later.
Yeah.
How do you do it without, in the interest of public safety with, you either develop everything all at once or you.
Well, most times you can't because of separate owners.
Right, that's my
Yeah.
point, which is impossible.
Yeah.
Or you put in something that serves
And you
public
get-
safety, which ends up being a cul-de-sac.
And you gotta give staff during development, staff and the engineers always look to make sure to put them to future development.
Right.
Because it's the smart thing to do, right?
Yeah, oh, exactly.
So they're doing
They're doing their job. yeah.
but yeah, you're right. We should look at that verbiage.
That's Dan's project.
Yeah, this is Dan's project.
Dan, did you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah. Dan Higginbotham, 2625 Northwestern Avenue. Part of the reason for the cul-de-sac here, just as a justification, is that this lot width, if you look at the bottom, it's 238 feet east-west. And this lot's probably been here, I don't know the exact date, but probably since the 1960s, maybe 70s. So this is an infill subdivision, infill property. We're not carving this out of another piece and leaving ourselves only 238 feet of width. So if you put in just put in a 50-foot wide road or 3-rod road, 49.5 feet wide, go north-south through the property as a public street, 50 for easy math, then you leave yourself 188 feet of width. So your lots are 99 feet deep, east-west. So by the time you get a 30-foot setback, 25-foot setback there, you build a 50-foot deep, narrow house. You have a 5-foot rear yard on the house. So it's just, we looked at it several times and it's impractical. And I think during my career as a land surveyor, I've probably looked at this property 5 times and Dustin's probably looked at it. Everybody in the brothers looked at it. So anyway, that's why there's a cul-de-sac here.
Thank you. Anything further by planning? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve as is.
Motion by Gerndt.
Do we have to do the approvals in this or no?
We do not, it's not a public hearing. So we have a motion by Gerndt, do we have it, okay, seconded by Jordan. On the question,
Yeah, so we've got that little strip that's for utilities and sidewalk or whatever. And when the property up near Ross would get developed, that would get pushed up to Ross, right? I mean, that's the plan in the future.
I don't know that it would get sidewalk. I think it might just be a path. I
Well,
think it will depend on what.
Access.
Yeah, but I think it depends on what lot 4 develops as, depending on how that multifamily is, that might be the way that those residents access the sidewalks. It might not be a way that residents from the general public are accessing that property. Does that make sense? Because there's no sidewalks on Ross. To Gary's point, I don't think it's gonna be advertised as this is like a trail connection. I think it's a way for that multifamily to access sidewalks.
in the future.
I think it could be either or. I mean, the utilities, depending on how lot 4 develops. If that is a public water main that gets looped through there, we would still require an easement through that private property. So, if we want that to stay as a public access point, so people could get to Ross, we could do that. But anyway, it's kind of like some of those other ones we talked about, this might be it for the next 5 years, 20 years, or in 2 years, we might be looking at a development here, so.
Answer your question, Dave?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to
It
know.
depends.
Yeah.
Anything further on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Agenda item number 10. Granite Ridge Subdivision Development Agreement, request for deviations from standard practices for sidewalks and driveway aprons.
So back in October of 2025, the Plan Commission and the Village Board approved the final plat for the 87 lot subdivision called Granite Ridge Subdivision. And this is the one off of Old Costa. It's right now going through the development agreement phase. And so the developers have requested a number of changes, and those are going through the different committees right now. One went to Public Works earlier tonight, and then there'll be other ones that go directly to the board. You guys need they're requesting modifications to, the developer will install concrete sidewalks and drive aprons on one side of all roadways within the subdivision. So this is the underneath the developer request up there. The big cost for the sidewalks and drive aprons on the opposite side of the road would be paid to the village. The village would then be responsible for designing, bidding, and constructing sidewalks to connect Granite Ridge subdivision to Schofield Avenue within the next 5 years. So they're asking to deviate from our normal practices of having basically the both sides sidewalks through that development. I have listed the applicable ordinances. So 74.606 street dimensional standards. This is basically a local street, and it requires sidewalk on both sides. So past practices, we've received similar requests from developers, including Green Tree and Benyon. And at that point, neither the planning commission nor the village board granted those waivers from the requirements for sidewalks on both sides of the roadway. Additional considerations is that sidewalks would be installed in the future when Old Costa Lane is reconstructed, as well as when Municipal Street would get constructed through the Stella Avenue to Connie Lane. It is also, as I said, current village practice to add sidewalks as neighborhood streets are reconstructed also. So staff is not recommending the waiver.
Has anybody purchased lots at this was?
It hasn't even been recorded yet.
I don't see any reason to entertain it. Does anyone else?
I would agree. I think there was a public comment made earlier tonight that we could treat everything the same, and we have done that with sidewalks. As long as I've been here, we've required sidewalks, as that's what our ordinance is on both sides of the road. We did that up at what's the one behind the hospital or behind Birchwood Highlands, Inner Springs, Misty Pines. I mean, virtually everything that I can think of that's not rural or considered rural, we have required sidewalks.
Yeah, and I guess my only input is our same input, or my feeling as a planning commission member is with Misty Pines, we attempted as well to work with the village. We wanted our sidewalks to go somewhere instead of just in a subdivision.
Right.
So we were willing to pay for the same thing. We were willing to pay for and give the amount of money. I think they're willing to give the money to get the sidewalks to go somewhere. So their safety of the kids or the whoever's walking, biking can actually get somewhere to do it. I think that's the point that I know that's the point we had in mind. So,
And it will go somewhere because Old Costa will be redone.
so at that point, that's the village's expense, or does that gets assessed to the property owners?
You want to assess sidewalk,
And is that done on both sides of the street then?
either that or a multi-use path, yeah,
Multi-use path to be on the side of the road then?
correct.
Okay.
So yeah, it depends on the characteristic of the roadway. If it's in like Fuller Street is a good one. We just reconstructed that this summer. In the area where there's houses on both sides, we put sidewalk on both sides. And then when you get south of Rogan Lane, where it kind of turns into more commercial industrial with waste management, then it's a multi-use path. So when we reconstruct streets, we do that. I mean, at Public Works earlier today, we talked about Bladel Ave and Concord and, you know, getting pedestrian accommodations in those streets, and even Concord here with, you know, truck traffic and semis. You know, we're still working on how do we at least get a sidewalk on one side so people can still access around while we're dealing with trucks trying to back in and out of warehouses. So, I mean, it is something we're not just asking developers to do, and then on our own projects, we're going, we're not doing it. So.
No, I was gonna say, we spent most of the public works meeting tonight discussing sidewalks and how to locate them.
Yeah.
What's the best Yeah, that's why I said I don't, to me, I don't have any interest in entertaining it. That's my personal opinion.
Motion?
If you're ready, yeah, I'd recommend that we approve sidewalk driveway, or not, or deny sidewalk driveway apron waiver request.
Second.
So we have a motion by Mumper, we have a second by Deason on the question. Is this Nick's project? Jen?
Yeah.
It is, okay, I apologize, I didn't, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Nick Rancic, Marathon Technical Services, 1699 Schofield Avenue, Schofield. So we're doing the design of the project. And I guess the real intent of the request, have it in the developer agreement, is to get sidewalks somewhere, right? So maybe, and I understand you haven't done it in the past, you're not gonna approve just doing it on one side, giving money for the village to do sidewalks somewhere else. But is there an option of like, hey, we will put sidewalks in on Old Costa Lane or whatever within the next so many years? Like, you know, you ask developers to agree to do stuff in a timely manner. Is there, or are they looking at 50 years from now, they might have sidewalks? I guess that's the gist behind the ask.
This has been back here, I think 2 or 3 times now. I know, maybe not here, but that we've discussed this, and I know, Michael, you had mentioned that once this project is wrapped up, I mean, the amount of truck traffic that's gonna go down Old Costa is gonna force a reconstruction. It's already teetering on disrepair. So, and the thought was to wait until that project is wrapped up. You don't wanna build a new road and then destroy it with trucks, you know, the first 2 years going up and down with all that heavy material. So I think the thought is once that subdivision develops would be to reconstruct that and there would be sidewalks put in at that time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's
No,
the,
and Jen alluded to it. I mean, one of the projects and we have kind of scheduled for 2028 right now is to connect Municipal Street South to Connie. Cause right now Old Costa is the only roadway in. So, I mean, it would be really difficult to try to reconstruct it now as the subdivision's trying to get built with it being the only access point. So, the goal would be to get Municipal Street to connect in so that there is a secondary access point, and then we'd be able to get Old Costa reconstructed, so.
So that is on the agenda,
It's currently is scheduled in 2028, so we'll be
just for Connie or?
for the Municipal Street to come south, because again, as these guys are building their subdivision, unless things really boom, I don't see them being done with it in 2028. You know, 2-3 years maybe. So I don't think they'd like it if we said, hey, you can't use Old Costa for the next 4 months because we're reconstructing the road.
Yeah.
So we gotta get one access
So there
point.
is something in the future that,
It's
which
in
is
the
great,
planning stages,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah.
Nothing's approved.
somewhat reassuring anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
does that answer your question, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Refresh my memory, who made the motion? You made the motion, and so we have a motion by Mumper, seconded by Deason on the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Item number 11, Evolve software presentation. Thank you, everybody.
Jamie, are you
Want to
able
be
to?
co-host?
Yeah, he does. We're just gonna show you, it actually went live today.
So based on how late we are, do we want to have that presentation now, or do you want to defer that to a later meeting? Are you guys all geared up to do this right now, or?
Jen, how long?
I mean, if we want to postpone it till next month, that's fine. It launched over the weekend,
Live.
so it's totally live. We're still meeting with Evolve on a weekly basis. We'll be meeting with them on Thursday. We've got a laundry list of tweaks that we need to, make to it. So, but it is, I can show you just a real quick, some of the highlights. It'll take maybe 5 minutes. I can keep it brief. Brevity's at 8 o'clock at night. It's not a bad idea. So.
Let's get her on.
All right,
Everybody else is good.
all right. So that's our new landing page look. When you link over from the village website. So, they've got these nice color coded buttons, so it syncs up with our color scheme. Some of the big things are with new applications. You can actually search for the application. Okay. So let's say, I just want to do a roof, right? Let's spell it correctly and that helps. And, it'll bring you up the two roofing permits. So commercial residential roofing permits. So, that function is, kind of a nice feature if somebody's new to the site, like most people are. We have streamlined the building permits and right-of-way permits and utility permits, so that they're kind of grouped in a stuff that makes a little better sense instead of just a list. One of the big things that was a huge pain point for people was not being able to save applications. You can do that now, as we'll work through an application here for a fence. We've got, before you begin, help text and acknowledgement on here. Just kind of, hey, since you're applying for this, you really need to be aware of what you're going to need moving forward and what your responsibilities are. And then the required documents will show up later in the application. Get our address search in here real quick. And it also, once you're logged in, it's seeing up here other applications that are attached to that account. So that way, if somebody's actually started one previously, they can pick up right here, right where they left off.
Or if you had multiple ones for electrical, plumbing. all that,
Absolutely.
It would all show up.
Yep, they'll all show up there. And then you'll work through the drop-down boxes for a new fence, front yard material, front yard height. So it's just asking the general questions here.
What about chickens?
Chickens, we're still got a permit for chickens. So,
That's in a different spot.
Okay.
and then, so something came up, I'm gonna save the application down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Help text box. And then we're gonna cancel out of here. So then to find my applications, we're gonna go just click on my permits right on the right-hand side there, left-hand side, my apologies. And there's our fence application that we were just working on. So we have the option of picking up right where we left off or deleting it if we don't want to follow through with the project. That was a big add with the system. One of the nice things, they've also jump back into this real quick. And they've allowed for individuals to be multiple different contacts on a project. So an individual can be up to 3 different contacts on the project. So they could be the owner and the general contractor on the project. Okay. But if they're not populating, then we can just click right here to search that contact and find who we're looking for. From a list of all the Meverdens out there.
I heard he builds a good deck.
And then we can add them right to the application. The process for searching contacts was definitely streamlined as well.
We went through pretty much every permit application and took out information we didn't need. To make it easier for the homeowners and the contractors to provide only what's required. Can you archive your, like, for an account like ours where we have, can you archive those?
The applications or permits?
Yeah, if they're old and you're done.
Oh, yeah, they're there. Yeah, I mean, even.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, instead of them showing up and you have pages of.
Yeah, so like when you go, I'm gonna follow through here real quick and I'll go back to the beginning and I'll show you how guys can look up applications that they're looking for. And so then we're at the end here. And what I really like is they definitely enlarged the text here on this last page and actually an acknowledgement button that, hey, it's actually been submitted. The previous text box was very small. So
You can print out anybody's application, correct?
what's that?
You can print out any application, correct?
As far as from a staff side or from an applicant side?
From the applicant side.
You mean like taking the actual digital form and putting it into a PDF?
I was just thinking about like, if I'm a homeowner, I want to build my own fence, right? And so I need to get a permit.
Yep.
Can I get online and type in fence and pull up 6 of them and then look at them and go, okay, I can see what I need to do here. Boom, 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 you know?
It's like an example he's asking.
Yeah, as an example, you know what I'm
There's
saying?
checklists for each one. So that was at the beginning. He didn't show that. There was a link to a fence
I
checklist
did
that kind
do
of
that, yeah.
explains.
Okay, that's right. I mean, you know
For
what
a lot of
I'm
the
saying?
permits there are.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the important thing there is when you, as you get through that checklist and there's something you don't know, you can save your application.
Yeah.
Go figure out what it is that you need to put in there and then go back to it.
Sure.
And don't have to start all over, right? And that was,
So the checklists are actually available out on the website outside of this, so they can get them before they even start. So when someone's thinking about like, oh, I want to do a fence, or somebody walks in here, we have a bunch of them upstairs that we could just hand them and they can click off with them. And so it's a link to that document. So we can update those as needed. But it basically explains to them how to apply.
Kind of nice to, like, I saw it would be nice kind of showing like an example of it. Here's one that's filled out.
Filled out, right, yeah.
It makes it a little more, it's
Exactly.
easier, not so, like, what are they really looking for?
No, that makes sense.
It's on the checklist. on
So
things.
back to the begin page, right? So there's our link to the document.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, perfect. I see how you're doing, yeah.
And so then this is kind of just the one-page briefer on, to assist with putting the application in, right? So we've got our front yard setbacks, street side setbacks, rear setbacks, interior setbacks, okay? So, and then verbiage from the code, so that the individual is aware of what the requirements are.
And Audrey has been working on updating all the little like site drawings, because we had
Yep.
a number of different people who have done them over the course of the back to when Jared was here. So she's been working on kind of making them look a little bit more uniform and having and updating them. 'Cause there was a lot of them that we've had code changes since they were out there, so.
Which I think is like the sample drawing is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll get attached to
Yeah,
them.
that will eventually get attached once I've completed all of them.
It just makes it easier for somebody to see an example
Yeah.
of one that's
Yep.
done
It's-
already.
it's-
Can you
yeah.
throw one up since
It's
you
not
have?
so intimidating, like, what are they really looking for? Yeah.
So we're going even further than those checklists to the visual people.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think
And that's
it's good.
exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
I need to share that page.
Yeah.
My bad. There we go. So there's one of the, coming up right now, is one of the new things that Audrey's been working on. So all of the sample site plans and like this are gonna kind of have the same theme to them.
Got
So,
a roof truss is like right on.
yeah, the chimney's in a bad spot for,
Sure is.
you know, so.
That's the picture that I was able to pull up.
Yeah.
Not a building inspector.
So, so yeah, so that's she's got kind of a uniform look and feel to all of them so that it's, we had a handful of sample documents that were pretty archaic, hand-drawn pencil stuff that was really unprofessional. So this
Looks
was
nice.
really something that we kind of are pushing forward to make sure that everything has a uniform look to it.
Well, eventually it'll just make it lots easier on all of you. Right? When it gets pinned down like this, it'll just make less phone calls, hopefully, right?
Exactly.
It's just
The other page, Mike.
one of those new vent systems for exhaust.
Oh, that's what it is. I thought it was like a skylight or something.
It's a skylight for the.
Yes. Yep.
Wood burner in the garage.
The insurance company loves that.
So when you do log in the first time, what they told us, there may be some issues with your accounts if you have multiple, and I know Gary, you have multiple accounts. So it's based off of your email address or your phone number. So we might have to merge some of the accounts together so that you can actually see, because it's gonna send you a PIN now. You don't have to remember a password.
Yep.
So each time you log in, it's gonna send you a PIN.
So here's what it looks like before you log in. And so you can create an account or log in. And then it wants your email address, and then it can email you or text you the PIN. And it's gonna send you a 5-digit.
I actually prefer that. You know how hard it gets to remember 18 different passwords every week? All the stuff I have to log into.
I have a manager.
And then from a security standpoint, it generates a new PIN every time you go to log in, so.
Which one of your phone on is?
I got it on my phone. I let my phone do it all.
So-
Can't remember all that.
Requesting inspections is real simple through the request inspection tab. One thing that it does, it doesn't allow an individual to request an inspection through an expired permit. So we're adding some help text on this page for individuals to know that they need to contact us specifically to get the permit pulled out of expired. So the way this system's set up, permits automatically expire if no site visit has been logged within 6 months. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
so that's kind of difficult for you to see what's out there lingering.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, so if nobody's been on site for any sort of,
Or can you pull a report that shows
yeah, we
you?
can pull a report for everything that's in expired status.
Okay.
So, so the, you can request inspection, you can look at your scheduled inspections and your completed inspections in this inspection history. So, I personally feel it's a lot more user friendly than what it was. Like I said, we're still making, tweaks to it to try and get, the best helpful verbiage in spots that need it. So we're spending a lot of time on the front side, the customer facing side, working with it. So.
So do you guys have like a training thing on this at all or not?
There's actually videos.
Is there?
So right on the left-hand side, down at the bottom, there's a tutorial video that people can click on. And
I meant that, like, we probably have multiple users at our shop that log
Yeah.
in. So if we put them all under one, then everybody can see everything. That's what I was questioning, because there's,
We would have to put everything to like a generic email that everyone could get into. So instead of how like a lot of people's emails
Yeah,
are their
first name, yep.
first name.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so if you have like, well, actually Timber Ridge does that. They have a generic, like an office email. A lot of them do that. And then they all get that and can see it and log in.
Okay.
You want, I mean, in your case where you've got so many different divisions working on permits, like Brad doesn't want to see
Yeah.
else from
Yeah.
a different.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that.
You know, so, but everybody's account can be linked under the business name so that one individual can see the applications from the other divisions. So. But I'm comfortable with, unless anybody else has any more questions. But,
Seems pretty straightforward.
we're pretty excited for the upgrade, truthfully. There's not a lot of change on the back end, which is also nice, but it's a much better looking forward facing side.
Nothing's been lost in any upgrades,
Not that,
not that you know of now.
of. So.
All right. Anything else on the Evolve software presentation? Need a acknowledgement or anything on that, or?
No, that was just an agenda item
Okay.
that I would ask for.
All right, item number 12, 2026 plan commission meeting schedule.
Yep, I'm working on it. Do I need to send it back to you or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Sorry.
This would just be next year's meeting schedule. We just annually bring it to you and everyone acknowledges that that's what the schedule's gonna be.
Staying on the second Monday of the month, right?
Yeah. Staying on the second Monday.
Valerie always does a great job sending a nice yearly.
You'll get
Right out,
new
right?
blinders that'll
I
come
love
in
it.
time to this.
I love it. He does a good job with that. I always accept it and then I don't have to worry about putting it all in by myself.
Do you need a motion to acknowledge on that?
Second.
Motion by Mumper, seconded by Gurnt on the question. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 13, November 2025, staff approved certified survey maps and site plans.
Motion to acknowledge 13, 14, and 15.
Second.
There's a motion to acknowledge number 13, November 2025, staff approved certified survey maps and site plans. Number 14, November 2025, building permits. And number 15, planning and development department project update report by Jordan and seconded by Gurnt. On the
I'm
question.
just gonna say, was there anything that you wanted to comment on, Jen, on the?
I don't think I have anything additional. We talked about the Evolve software upgrade. We're still working through the comprehensive plan update and hoping in January we can bring some things to you. Now that we're hopefully slowing down on the development side of things for a little bit, for a few months.
Have we heard anything more on the Dunkin' Donuts?
No, I have not received anything additional from them.
Okay. All right, anybody else have any other questions?
I got one.
Go ahead.
Michael, I talked to Mark. I had a couple calls on Weston Avenue. Is that the speed limit? Is that getting looked at?
Oh, you can do that under your, we have announcements of Commissioner remarks.
Oh, I thought that's.
Oh, sorry, we got-
I'm sorry.
We'll do 13, 14, and 15.
Sorry, Joe.
Any other comments on those three agenda items?
No.
All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So carried. Number 16, announcements and commissioner remarks.
Okay, now you can answer me, Michael.
I believe that'll be going to the community life and public safety meeting in January. On that question. I guess, yeah, that roadway was, I guess, in a lot of the meetings with the residents there. And there was a desire by the people living in that corridor to reduce the speed. And it was designed as essentially a 40-mile-an-hour road. So.
So how do we go from a 45-mile-an-hour road that was so narrow to a super highway right now? It seems like that's so wide open to 35.
We can discuss that at the January CLIPS meeting.
Yeah, I guess so. No,
Any other comments?
No, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, it's all right. Mr. Deason,
No, thank you.
Mr. Mumper,
Yeah, does this include future agenda items or is this?
that's coming up yet.
Okay, no.
Joe,
Good.
Mr. Zagami,
Just wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's.
same for me as well. Next regular meeting date, Monday, January 12th, 2026 at 6 PM. And then 18, future agenda items or staff referrals.
That one I would like to see a future agenda item for any cups that are given out in the wellhead protection area. And as far as what internal inspection process we might think is appropriate.
Maybe it would be good to just bring that back with what we currently have and then just talk about it and see what we want.
How about that and cul-de-sacs?
Cul-de-sacs would be another one. Yeah, that might be enough. That we revisit that as far as what exactly it says in the code in relation to what is actually happening.
I missed what you said, I'm sorry.
Cul-de-sacs.
All right, any other future agenda items? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Deason, seconded by Jordan on the question. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. We are adjourned at 8:33 PM.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.